you been to jail?
Yeah, I did 6 years. It's hard to explain to people how long 6 years is.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a really random number. Like, I was locked up for a decade. We get what that is. When I got locked up, Biggie had not released the song yet.
Whoa.
By the time I came home, Biggie was dead. Like, that's how quick Biggie's career was, but how long it was for me to be locked up.
It was all a dream. Felonious Munk.
Yeah.
Is that, do you go by Felonious or by Munk?
Munk.
Okay.
Mostly. Arif occasionally, because that's it's on my birth certificate and stuff. Yeah, that was an accident.
Yeah.
You've never heard this story, Sammy.
No, I've never. Tell me.
If you want to know how I got the name.
How'd they put on the marquee? Or sorry. So sorry.
What are you doing? No, the joke was a buddy of mine was trying to figure out a good screen name for me because Black Twitter, if you're unfamiliar with that as a place, is full of punny names, right? So everyone, like I used to be Wave Chappelle at one point, right? So a buddy of mine says, "Ooh, I got one for you." He was like, Ghetto Gandhi. And I was like, I don't think Gandhi likes black people. So I don't think you can use that one.
Why Ghetto Gandhi, though? Like,
I think his reasoning was that my jokes always, I tried at the very beginning to have a point. I was really on my Dick Gregory. I want every joke to have meaning.
Yeah.
But also, I said nigga a lot. So it was like, there's got to be some way to balance those two things. And so he went Ghetto Gandhi, and I shot that down. And he was like, maybe 10 minutes later, he goes, Felonious Munk. And I was like, yeah, I like that. And I made that my screen name. And then I got booked. My first headlining gig was at Gotham in New York. And no one asked me what I wanted to be billed as. They just put Felonious Munk on the marquee. And I think, if we're being honest, that the booker thought that was my legal name.
Wow.
Because he actually paid me my check, my first big comedy check, said Felonious Munk. Luckily, Bank of America doesn't give a shit as long as the check clears. They don't care what the name is on it. So, yeah.
But your real name's Arif.
Arif Shahid, because I'm a very knowledgeable witness. Or that's what they want you to believe.
That's what it is? That's what it means?
That's what it means. Yeah. Arif is supposed to be a person who's a teacher and educator. And I take my responsibility seriously, Sammy.
I see it.
Definitely educate people through my comedy.
Is it knowledgeable witness also a snitch?
That's a confidential informant. Very different thing. I am very pro not snitching. I do think there's I'm glad you brought that up. Long time ago, I used to do WPX 11. I used to do like news commentary. And on Pix 11, I remember Jody Applegate was the anchor for the evening news. And I sat down in a chair. They were introducing me as their new like correspondent. It was basically a Daily Show type of deal.
Welcome, Ghetto Gandhi.
And she, Felonious Munk, ladies and gentlemen. And then she goes, so, you're pro-snitching. I was like, whoa, no, I'm not. And she looked at me like, this is what my notes say.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to explain to her that there is a difference between a person who is not involved in crime, who witnesses a crime, and then gives a statement about that crime, and a person who is involved in the crime, who then tells you about the crime to prevent themselves from going to jail. The second person is a snitch. The first person is a witness. And I don't think that people should be afraid to be witnesses. I do know that saying that is easier than, not getting shot for telling something. But the two aren't the same as, At this point, I don't commit crimes anymore, so I would suggest you not doing shit in front of me. You shoot a motherfucker around me, and they catch me on camera close to the gunshots. The motherfucker had on blue, and I don't know what kind of car it was, but it was white.
Right.
And it had 4 doors. His name was Kevin Jones. Kevin Jones, he lives at 42. Probably not, but still.
You got that name down pretty well.
Because I saw Kevin Jones shoot something. And I wish the police would take me seriously. Come get Kevin Jones. If there's a Kevin Jones out there watching this, you know what you did. You know what you did, dog.
This is a question based off of something that I heard just maybe 10 minutes ago. Have you been to jail?
Damn it. Stop snitching, Sammy. No, you weren't involved in the crime. I have. I did 6 years in prison as a child. It wasn't a child.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a teenager. But I did 6 years, and the story is that I never got arrested for the shit that I did, but the shit that I didn't do, I ended up doing time for. But it's hard. I've said this on stage recently. It's hard to explain to people how long 6 years is.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a really random number. Like, it's locked up for a decade. We get what that is. 6 years is just weird. And the only way I can describe it is when I got locked up, Biggie had not released the song yet.
Whoa.
By the time I came home, Biggie was dead. Like, that's how quick Biggie's career was, but how long it was for me to be locked up. There was no when I got locked up, but when I came home, was gone. It was like resting, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it was all a dream.
It was, it was all, that was a really good, thank you. That's a tag.
Were you exposed to
tag.
Biggie or Tupac while you were in jail?
Yeah, so I was locked up with a bunch of New Yorkers.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple of West Coasters who really, really loved Pac. Yeah. And so that was a debate in prison too. Like they were still the biggest radio acts, and Biggie was the most representative of New York. Brooklyn is everywhere. Biggie is everywhere. Biggie was the biggest New York rap artist at the time. And Pac's whole persona, the charisma, the fact that he got locked up and came out of being locked up and then drops a song called California Love as an East Coast guy who basically just defected. Right. Like he's a Cuban baseball player who was like, hey, California's got freedom and went to, and then drops this amazing, he gets with Dre, who's at the time at the peak of his beat making powers, and he just drops hit after hit after hit. But he also says, that's why I fucked your wife, you fat motherfucker. And that, as a diss song in an era where we weren't doing that. Like, we were doing diss songs, but that's why I fucked your wife, you fat motherfucker. Yeah. Come on, dog. If I didn't have anything to do with the original shooting, I'm gonna shoot you now. What the fuck is wrong with you?
You, the gentleman in jail, were like, that was too much.
I think, hey, Mr. Pac, Mr. Shakur, as a person who shoots people, that's a shootable offense. You know, there's the line, and you're too far. But yeah, so we took sides, and it wasn't like the OJ verdict. We all took the same side.
Because you were in there for the OJ verdict.
We were in there for the OJ verdict. Yeah, that was crazy times. We celebrated like they were letting us out. They didn't. I don't know if anybody knows. They did not transfer the freedom. But yeah, when Pac died, it was a very sad day. You saw a bunch of very gangster dudes like, I ain't crying. I was like, well, why is your face wet, dog? That's weird. And then when Biggie died, the people who were crying the first time were like, that's what he gets. I was like, he didn't shoot Pac, motherfucker. Like, that was a different, oh my God. So yeah, we were exposed to Pac. We were exposed to Biggie. We were mostly looking at Patra videos because Patra had a nice body. It was a weird time, very weird time.
So you got to watch some TV.
We watched TV. Halfway through my sentence, they passed some type of law saying, or some type of policy saying, they could not show R-rated movies in the prison anymore because psychologists had studied and said that viewing these made prisoners more aggressive, and you didn't want to make already aggressive people aggressive. Right. And I was like, we just beating each other up, dog. You know what I'm saying? I should be able to watch a rated R movie where I should be able to watch Scarface.
We inspired these.
I sold a lot of cocaine. How can I not watch a movie based on selling cocaine? This is bullshit.
You've been to jail recently? They're all playing cartoons.
They're all playing cartoons. That is
every inmate's doing a high-pitched voice now.
That's right.
I'm going to beat you up.
And I wish, and they're running like anime characters, which probably healthier. Allegedly running like an anime character is more aerodynamic, but that shit looks goofy. I was watch too much anime for an old motherfucker.
Now, let me ask you two questions.
Okay, I'll give you
first question. You said you got punished for the thing that you didn't do. Right. And not the thing you did. Right. Had you been punished for the thing you actually did, would that have been a larger sentence?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, there was some ongoing shit. I got one of those, you got caught for this one thing, but I was doing a continuing enterprise thing. Right. If I'd ever gotten caught for that, there could have been some conspiracy charges thrown into it. I mean, I think at the time, drug dealing was still new enough. Coke dealing, crack dealing was still new enough. Because drug dealing has been going on forever, but the way we were doing it was new. The cell phones and the beepers and all of that stuff was new.
Digital media marketing.
Right. We weren't outside selling crack anymore. Like I remember the transition from standing outside waiting for people to come and buy crack to being in a house.
Right.
And just getting a call and saying, come by at this time.
Right.
And that made the cops' jobs harder. They weren't a step ahead of us. They were always a step behind us at that point.
Right.
Now, we also didn't adapt quickly. You know, we would get a step ahead and then they would catch up and we would still not realize they caught up for a year. So I happened to luckily get locked up before they caught up. Good on me for getting arrested for something else. Because I tricked you motherfuckers. Yeah, showed you. You tried to catch me for what I did. Wrong. It hurt.
But the thing that you didn't do,
right.
Did you know somebody else who did it?
I was there.
Oh, you were there.
I was involved. Yeah,
you were a witness.
And it was, we talked about snitching. It's the idea that whatever my part in it was, because I got caught, I didn't have the moral position to say, no, this, you got me for the wrong thing. Because I feel like that comes back around on you, right? Like if I told on this guy, then someone would go, yeah, but did you know he was doing this for a long time? So I was like, I'll take this.
You humbly did your time.
I humbly did. I don't know if it was humble. I was very arrogant in that. I was like, you motherfuckers are real criminals. Not me, I'm innocent. It was very sad.
I know my story is not at all like yours, but that happened to me once. I didn't go to jail.
I know that I didn't go to jail. But
I was watching cartoons, but I didn't go to jail.
Much like you, I'm a cartoon watcher.
Yeah.
Me and you, same.
Much like you, I think OJ is innocent. And there was a period of time in early high school where I would steal a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I got arrested for stealing a calculator, which I did not steal.
Right.
My friend stole it. But I'd been stealing many other calculators.
Right. I didn't steal that calculator.
Yeah. So, and the only person I ever told that to was my dad. And he was like, "What? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?" Like,
calculators, dog.
Yeah.
Were you selling the calculators on the...
I was selling them on the black market.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, for ridiculously small markups.
You know what bothers me about that is the American dream, honestly, is to get product at the lowest possible price, and free is very low as a price point, and then to sell it. And you say with very little markup, any markup on free is markup.
Absolutely.
It's 100% markup.
100% markup.
It's like, I sell these for $1. That's $1 per thing every time you get one.
That's good capitalism.
That's great capitalism.
And I was also promoting like the doing of math to like
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You're providing a service to people who can do
affordable mathing.
Affordable mathing. That's my next podcast. Yeah, that's what I did. I used to steal drug dealers' drugs and then sell them to crackheads because I care about the community and medicating them. So if you're out there and you're missing some drugs, I probably stole them, dog.
They could use that extra money for food occasionally, right?
That was 30 years ago. No one gives a shit anymore. And if you do, it's fuck it. I've done enough stuff. Kill me now. I'm fine.
But that is
very depressing. My wife is
going to be
let's
cut it there. Let's end it there, huh?
My wife's going to be so pissed. She's like, you stop telling people to shoot you. I got to raise this little motherfucker by myself because you tired of living. It's fucking... All right.
But it was a very long time ago. So I take it you got out in 97, 98?
98, yeah. Wow. Came home in 98. I've been home this is my 25th anniversary. I'm talking about it a lot more now.
Wow.
Specifically because it's easier to reflect. I've been home now 25 years.
Quarter of a century.
And the first 25 years of my life was spent like figuring out how to be a good criminal. And then the last 25 was trying to figure out how to not go back. And it's easy to reflect with that much time. You know, the comedy is what's the formula? You know, time plus trauma equals whatever. Yeah. There's enough time now.
Right.
For me to talk about, you know, all of the dehumanization that happens and then to kind of put a funny spin on it. I didn't have a funny spin for a long time because I still couldn't vote until, you know, the last election was the first election I was legally allowed to vote in.
2020?
2020.
Wow.
Yeah. 2018, I got the right back, but 2018 I voted. Yes, 2018 I voted in the midterm. My first vote was a midterm vote. I really was excited about it too, which if I had known that no one gave a fuck. I'm glad I didn't vote in 2016 only because I would have been heartbroken if my very first vote was for Hillary and Trump still won. Right. I'm like, you know what, this is some bullshit. This whole system is corrupt. Yeah. It is, but also that would have been like my first vote. My first one.
That would have been your first and last.
Oh my God. I voted for some SAG-AFTRA shit last night and those didn't win, but I was okay with it. You know? I will say a couple of them, I was like, that's very close to Trump. We'll talk later. But I forgot some of you guys watch these podcasts and you're actors. But voting it took a long time for me to get over it because until very recently, there were still things I could not do.
What is the formula for voting post-felony?
It varies from state to state.
Yeah.
So, there's this belief that if you have a felony, you can never vote. And that is true in some states. There are 2 states, Vermont and I want to say New Hampshire. I'm not positive, but I know Vermont is one. I know that both of the states are 95% white. They allow you to vote while you're still incarcerated, regardless of what your charge is. You could have murdered 75 people, 10 rapes. It's your right. It's your right to vote. And then, there's states like, Kentucky where they're like, I don't care if you stole 10 pieces of gum. If it's a felony, you'll never vote again.
Yeah. Right.
And then, there are various states where once you've completed your sentence, you can vote. Or once you've completed your parole, you can vote. And once you've completed parole and paid off your fines, you can vote. And what happened in Virginia, because it's where I was locked up. In Virginia, for years, it was one of those you'll never vote again states. And then the previous governor basically did an executive order type of deal where he was like, hey, man, if you have a nonviolent charge or if you've been free for this amount of time, you can vote.
Wow.
And the GOP legislature was like, hey, motherfucker, no, no. But by the time they said that, he had already freed like 1,000, we're giving like 1,000 people who gotten their rights back. And he had set up an infrastructure where you could apply to reinstate your rights online. And so
that applied to you.
And that applied to me. So I applied, and like 6 weeks later, I went back and checked, and it had gone from pending to you are now legally able to vote. And so immediately I registered and did all of the stuff, and I kept a digital copy, and I printed out a copy showing, because I didn't want to be one of those guys who are like, hey, I thought I could vote legally because of this thing. And they're like, we don't have a record of that.
Right.
And then I go back to jail. I'm way too old. I can't fight anymore. This isn't a jail body. It's definitely not a jail mom. I'm sleepy now.
It is a great message for criminals who would like to still be politically active.
Yes.
Like, learn your state's laws.
I think activism for me is less about activism and more about finding ways to get more people involved in processes, and that's one of them. There are people like Dwayne Betts who does a lot of work in not only reinstating people's rights, but getting records expunged, right? Because, we talk about second chances in this country, but we also do this weird thing where, it's a second chance, but you got a shorter rope. Dude, right. I've been home 25 years. What I did as a 19-year-old, you know what I mean? Like, how long do you hold? I'm 50. Like, no one is going, you know what? You're 50, but you still remind me of the 19-year-old.
Right.
In what way? So, he does a lot of work. We are SOZE. The SOZE organization does a lot of work with former inmates' rights. And there's so many of these different organizations out there. And it's just recently that I've kind of started to get in touch with these organizations and try to use not just my story, but my size of my platform or whatever to try to get that word out. There literally are people who believe you will never be able to vote again. And the first time they heard that you could was me saying it on Twitter or on Instagram.
Right.
I know 3 different people who, after finding out that I got my rights reinstated, reached out, DM'd me or whatever, and said, how did you go about it?
Wow.
I told them, and a couple of them were like, shit, I just checked. I already had the right to vote for it last year. Right. Didn't know it. So, yeah.
And also, I mean, your specific story about Virginia just goes to show that if the state policy changes, it can affect people who have past sentences.
It affects people. And again, I think it's a lack of information. But I think it's intentionally, they don't want that information out, right? Because just statistically, we know Black and brown people get arrested at higher rates. We also know that Black and brown people vote Democrat at higher rates. And so in a lot of these states, the goal is to disenfranchise Black and brown people. Whether, that's intentional or unintentional, I don't really give a shit about the argument there. I just know that it's accurate.
The outcome, yeah.
And so, the only people who are going to give you that information are going to be other Black and brown people. They're not going to tell you that on the news. Fox News isn't going to go, in these states it's changed. Even in Florida, they voted to reinstate the rights of previous felons, and then the governor came back and went, but here's another hoop with fire on it that you have to jump through. So, we do this thing where this is an inclusive democracy, but we really are doing everything we can to exclude people that we don't want to vote for whatever reason.
And people who in many cases have the more atonement than anybody in this society. People who have like learned the hard way.
More atonement and more skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of times where, these policies impact us in ways that other people aren't impacted. My wife and I have talked about this, like Roe versus Wade, for example. It impacts me in ways, but not in the ways that it impacts her and her health care, right? So I'm voting on her behalf in some of those situations, but also on mine, because she gets pregnant right now. Is this my camera? This is my camera. No. I'll grow my pinky nail out if I have to. It's cells. I'll scrape them off the wall on my own. I don't give a shit. I want to state very clearly, I'm not pro-choice. I am pro-abortion. I will go get the motherfucker myself. Okay.
You're a father, right?
Love my kids. Very much a family man.
Yeah.
Segue. It's more than a ride. I got an 18-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. I like both of them. One more than the other. You guys figure it out at home. I do. I think that's a big part of the conversation, though. People do this thing where it's like, as a parent, how could you? And I was like, as a parent who likes being a good parent, adding another motherfucker would be a lot. It would be a strain. Also, as someone who loves my wife, I saw what her body went through. Like just understanding that the calcium has to come from her bones to make the new baby's bones.
Right.
She doesn't have like a lot of extra calcium. That's not a thing. We're like, hey, how much calcium you have? I have 130% of the calcium I need. I don't. I got like 93.
That's a pro-choice argument I've never heard before.
There you go.
There's a calcium.
It's like, right. I don't want my fucking wife to. She's lactose intolerant, and it makes her calcium deficient. So now, how do I give her calcium back? That's not cool.
Vote
Stop doing that to
pro-choice for the lactose intolerant.
That's right. Pro-choice for the lactose intolerant.
The dairy.
That's what I'm running on. When you run next time, I would like to run as your vice president.
Yeah.
And my thing is going to be pro-choice for the lactose intolerant. Dairy-free, baby-free. That's, making the shirts now. Dairy-free, baby-free. Shit. You're going to put me out of it. SG. This is over.
So you started comedy how long after you got out?
Oh, a long time. I was not of the belief that I had the freedom to do anything cool. I thought that I was just going to have to get a job, and whatever I could get, I had to take it because that's what I had earned.
So you felt kind of like you had to keep a low profile
keep a low profile, and also not be a burden. I was already a burden on my family at this point. My mom wanted me to go back to school, and I was like, sure, but who's gonna take care of me if I'm going to school full time, right? So I was 38. I've been home for almost 13 years, 12 years and some change before I got on a stage, and I was a very old first time comic, and I am still amazed that I've had any level of success, because it was kind of a lark. It was, I'm going to go on stage because my buddy keeps telling me to go on stage, and hopefully I find a good job while I'm doing this other thing on the side. And then it became the good job. Like within a year, I was doing TV shows and getting a check for entertainment that was, equal to the checks I was getting before entertainment, or a little better. And so, I was 38 years old. So if you're out there listening to this and you think you're too old to whatever, do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Unless you think you're too old to have a baby, in which case you're right. Don't do it.
Not enough calcium.
Pull out. You don't have the calcium for this. You are losing calcium by the day. Don't do it.
I will say, as a third-party observer, people who start stand-up later in life and are serious about it will accelerate faster, because they have the ability to focus that in a way that young shitheads can't.
They also have a story, and that's not a knock on young people. Young people have to live to have stories to tell, and you can't accelerate that process. You can't accelerate heartbreak. You can't accelerate fucked up job situations. You can't accelerate loss. And that's where the funny comes from, right? The funny is the marginally traumatic shit that you deal with that you found a cool spin on. No one wants the happy jokes. It's like, you ever been outside having a good day and the sun feels amazing? And you're like, and now you're brown. Like, that's not, it's funny here, but that's not how you structure a set. But yeah, you have to have a certain level of life experiences. And I think you can learn to structure jokes really well when you're young. You can learn to write jokes really well when you're young. But for your jokes to have the kind of impact that you want them to have, you have to have some life experience. And that was helpful for me. At 38, when I started, I'd been to prison. I'd been divorced. I had a kid. I had a rocky relationship with family. I'd gone through all of that, and I had all of that to pull from. The hardest part was figuring out what I wanted to focus on. But having the material was there. That was easy.
You said early in your career you had some stuff go viral. What was it?
Yeah, I showed my dick on Twitter. No. Sorry, that was a recurring nightmare. I used to do a YouTube series called Stop It B, and it was the whole premise of it was that we get very upset about things we shouldn't be upset about, and it was based on me watching hours of YouTube videos and watching people go on these very angry rants. And we remember the leave Britney alone type of, what I mean? I was like, it's Britney Spears. No one's gonna kill her. We're just, people are talking shit. You're very upset about this. And I saw a guy who was really upset about Carrie Hilson apparently saying that she wrote a song for Beyonce. And he was like, who the hell is Carrie Hilson? I know the Hilton sisters. I know this person. And he was and I thought it was hilarious. There's no reason for you to be that mad about this rich lady saying something about this other rich lady. And so I started doing my take on that. And I would find these innocuous little things that people were into, and I'd do rants about them. I was like, stop it, B. Stop putting your ass on the sink to make your butt cheeks look bigger on Instagram. That's ridiculous. And people like resonated with it. Yeah. And because I was new at comedy, didn't realize that they were resonating with the misogyny in that one, for example. They were like, oh yeah, these bitches be doing that. And I was like, no, that's not what the joke was. No. But the one that really started because by this point, by the way, World Star Hip Hop was out, and World Star was notorious for showing, and I say this out loud, if anyone from World Star's listening, they were notorious for showing things that showed the black community in an awful light, but it got them a lot of clicks. And a lot of allegedly black media at that time, and still to this day, Lipstick Alley and these types of places, they show the worst of us for clicks. And there's a market for that. There's a market for people who want to see fights, a market for people who want to see celebrity gossip, and us at our worst. And so the first times I went viral were on World Star, which says a lot about the type of material it was. Again, I'm thinking people realize these are jokes. I'm not realizing that I was absolutely developing a following of people who thought that I believed the shit I was saying. And so the summer of 2011 was the first time I was like really aware of the debt ceiling argument. It's because when Barack Obama was president, every single regular fight that they've had forever became this exaggerated fight, right? So all of a sudden, the debt ceiling, which had been raised 30, 40, 50 times in my lifetime, became this knockdown, drag out fight. And we'll shut this whole sumbitch down if we have to. And I was like, what the fuck is the debt ceiling? And I was like, here's a good joke. We'll just, we'll make this as small as possible. We'll take the debt ceiling and this big macroeconomics argument and make it micro. If I got to the ceiling of my credit cards, I wouldn't be allowed to spend anymore. And that was my argument. It was key funny. And then I have the leeway, because I'm black, to make a joke about Barack Obama as a black guy. Hey man, you our first black president. You acting like it. Pay your fucking bills. This is a funny joke in an all black comedy club. This is a hilarious joke at the table with a bunch of my black friends. Glenn Beck saw the video and played it on his. He played it on his morning radio show.
Damn it.
And so the National Review sent a reporter out to cover me and do a story on me. And Glenn Beck did a story on The Blaze about me. And Don Imus, rest in peace, rest in peace, would bring me on and try to goad me into saying negative shit about Barack Obama, to the extent that after one episode when I wouldn't go for the debate, I had a call. I just got a call on my phone from a number I didn't know, and it's like, hey, is this Felonious Munk? I was like, yeah. All right, can you hold for Don Imus? And he was like, girl, so let's talk about on your appearances, the types of things we would like for you to say. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that now. And that was I never made another appearance. But what I realized at the time was I needed to take a step back. And if anybody wants to check the history of this, they can go back to July-ish, August of 2011 and notice that the tone of my videos changed immediately after that. Because I immediately saw that what I was saying that I thought were jokes could be used not to harm me, because I don't give a fuck, but it was used to harm communities and harm the arguments of people who really took this shit seriously. And I thought we were just telling jokes. It's the Chris Rock, you got black people and you got niggas, and he was like, this is a joke that black people get. We know why it's funny, but we really don't hate niggas. Like, I fuck with Barack Obama and Flavor Flav. Like, I don't want Flavor Flav to disappear. That's my motherfucker. You know what I mean? A clock? A clock. You walk around with a clock and do this at 60 years old and say, yeah, boy, I love that shit. Are you fucking kidding me? You introduced the world to Tiffany New York Pollard. I love her. Don't ever take Flavor Flav away from us. But I appreciate Michelle Obama more than Barack, if we're being honest. So yeah, it was kind of, it was that level of shit though, right? So that kind of changed. It soured me to YouTube, but it also made me try to write jokes that were bulletproof. I wanted to write jokes that you couldn't misconstrue.
Right.
That you couldn't twist, you couldn't take them from me, you couldn't make them mean what you wanted to. And I wanted to find a way to do that without losing the whimsy, because niggas don't get to be whimsical. I think Langston Kermit might even have a joke about that idea. But the idea that we don't just get to be flippant and throw a thing out there without it following us forever is now, and social media has made it worse because the stuff really does live forever, right? A perfect example, my favorite two comics, of course, a lot of old dudes, it's Richard Pryor and Carlin, right? Carlin has a bit where he says nigga like 3 times in the bit. That bit, I don't, fuck the word cancel, but that bit would have gotten him so much heat if it existed now, because it would have been played on a loop and it would have been played for the outrage of people who hate, and it wouldn't have been his audience. It would have been a non-audience but that's what happens. And so I wasn't strong enough yet as a comic. My platform wasn't big enough, and I hadn't received the type of leeway that these big Hollywood names had gotten to be able to get away with that shit. I had to create what I wanted people to think about me then in that moment. And so we just kind of went away from YouTube. And I could have probably been bigger earlier, but I didn't want to be big for the reasons I was going to be big. Right. So, yeah, I went viral and fucked my career up. God damn.
That's a really interesting story. A couple things. First of all, again, our stories are not similar. I'm not trying to say they are.
I think they really are.
The first time I went viral was also on World Star Hip Hop.
What?
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. That makes me so fucking happy.
It was a sketch about Israelis and Palestinians. So
that makes perfect sense.
People also enjoy seeing Middle Easterners being in a position. You know what I mean? Same thing. So, so I got a taste of that early on, and
did you have people who, I don't know if they were intentionally obtuse, but they really missed where you were going with
Absolutely.
it, but just so far away that you're like, I don't even want to explain it because it's going to take multiple paragraphs to correct all of the shit that you got wrong.
Right.
I did that happened to me recently. By the way, I have a bit. And it was fucked up. It was a throwaway line that I said on a Comedy Central taping. And it was about me smoking weed and weed making you not care about important things. That's literally the premise, is weed makes you not care about important things.
Right.
For example, if I saw my son climbing on the TV and he fell and knocked the TV over, I'd be like, sorry, little motherfucker, we can get another TV. Like if somebody walked up to me and was like, hey man, you see what's going on in Ukraine? And I was like, that's white on white crime. That's not my business. The joke was not that Ukraine doesn't matter. The joke is that Ukraine matters a lot, but the weed makes you not give a fuck.
Right.
But people thought that I was saying, fuck the Ukraine, let white people kill themselves.
Right.
And I see where they could get that. But also, like, hey, dog, did you not hear the part here? Weed makes you not give a shit about important things.
Right. That's why comedians often, we have to repeat our premises twice so that people can go back and be like, oh, that's right.
That's right, you said that.
Yeah.
And but what's frustrating about it is it's recorded. So you could go back and see that I said that, but you don't want to.
Right.
The outrage machine is there, and you just wade through it. At some point, you go, fuck you, and mute them, or whatever you need to do and go on. But I think that me and you should try to do more World Star shit.
Absolutely. World Star, it's still there. It's just not as popular. It's not what it used to be.
It's not what it used to be.
We can bring it back.
We could bring World Star back. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you said something
Me and
that
Sammy on World Star.
I've never
World Star. I'm sorry. That's how you used to be able to get on. You just yell that shit out after somebody got slapped.
You said something that I've never heard a comedian say, but I think about a lot, and that is that you went viral and attracted the wrong audience. And often comedians were just like, we'll take whatever, or entertainers, we'll take whatever. That's more money, more tickets sold, whatever, more followers. But you're right. When you say a joke and people are like, look, like for instance, like a lot of comedians will make jokes about trans people. Right. And some of the jokes are funny and I don't find them offensive. I can't speak as a person who's not trans.
Right.
But then all these people will go crazy for them, be like, yeah, this is so funny, and share. And you look at the comments, and there's actual people who don't like trans people and have all this hatred and stuff. And I see that, and I'm like, I don't want to be doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? So you see a lot of people accruing these followings that actually do have these subtle hate, this subtle hate. And every person's a person, they can atone and stuff like that. But when you see patterns like that,
when you actively pursue that audience,
yes.
Niles Abston is very quickly becoming one of my favorite comics. He has a great bit about it's a double-sided bit. It's a bit about trans people, but it's also a bit about how easy it is to write a non-offensive joke. And the joke is basically that he hates trans dudes because they get to be dudes but also have cute feet. It's a great bit. It's very funny. Comics are laughing at it. And I'm probably not telling it perfectly. The premise of that is really funny by itself. And that's what I call a bulletproof joke. There's no way for you to look at that and go, yeah, that really pisses me off. These trans dudes with their little ass feet appropriating pretty feet culture. You can't fuck that joke up, right? But when you actively are, and I'm not anti-edgy. I'm very much into say some edgy shit, push the envelope. But if pushing the envelope turns the fire onto someone other than you, just... don't fuck. I'm being brave. No, you're not. You're fucking turning the gun. You're turning the bullseye onto a whole group of people that you're not involved in, right? Like, and by the way, I did not know until you said that you were trans. Entire time I've known you, thought you were trans mask. Don't know where we go from here because
look at my feet, dude.
And that should have tipped me off. I
got good feet, man. I got cute ass feet.
And to be clear, I don't really know exactly what the hormones do, so maybe this shit makes your feet grow. Who knows? But
they're smaller.
But I do think that you have the choice of how you want to be seen when it's all over.
Right.
And if you actively cultivated this group of people that you know is shitty because you believe when it's all said and done, you'll be able to donate money to these organizations and kind of get some of you can't undo the harm. For me, I've sold a lot of cocaine, and
after shows or
occasionally. But I mean, if my merch is moving, I don't have to. So it depends. Buy the merch, I'll stop selling dope. It's on you. It's really the audience's fucking fault that I'm still out here. You could get me off the streets today by buying these shirts. They have my state number on them too, because I don't give a fuck. But I do think that there's a lot of harm that I did that I won't be able to undo. I have to sit with that. I can't, there's no amount of care and dare programs that I can join to undo the harm that I did. So I have to accept that as a reality, but also I have the choice to not only not do that anymore, but to actively try to work against it, right?
Right.
And I can't do that if I'm continuing to sell drugs. And I think that's the thing is like, I know I'm a good person and I give money to the Salvation Army, but yes, I make a lot of jokes about poor people. It's like, but you're still actively doing harm. At best, you're evening it out.
Right.
At best. But you're probably not, because you're doing more harm than whatever your donation is, likely. I don't know how much money. Like Dave Chappelle probably could give a lot of money to trans rights organizations and fix a lot of the shit that he's done. He's not, but he could. But I can't. If I sell a lot of cocaine, I'm not giving the money up because I sold the cocaine. I did the work.
Right.
The fucking poor people didn't do the work. The fucking drug dealers, users didn't do the work. I did the work. So if I make the money. But the bigger point is, it's way easier just not to harm and to find ways to be funny. And interestingly enough, Cat Williams, I think, has articulated it better than anyone in the last few years, where he basically was like, you can be funny and not offensive, but the problem is a lot of you aren't funny. You're just offensive, and so you fight for the right to continue to be offensive because that's the only way you get close to funny. And that's, this shit's hard. Being funny, being flat out funny, that making a wide swath of people laugh is not easy.
Right. Because you can never not offend anybody.
No.
You the best thing you can do is you can minimize casualties while saying something that generally has a good impact. And it's funny.
I mean, I've told jokes about my kids, and my kids are very clear on how I feel about them. They're aware, so I don't really give a shit what everyone else thinks. But also, I've told jokes that have been banned from TikTok for being anti-child. That's a real thing. Like, there's a number. If I showed my TikTok, like the warnings that they've given me, we're gonna ban your account, and a lot of them are just because I'm saying things like, "Yo, fuck my kid, man. This dude's a dick." And if you know my kid, I'm not just pulling that from my ass. He's me, but with no rails. There's no guardrails for him because he hasn't had the trauma that I've had. So he's 6. He just says shit, dog. He just says whatever. Like he doesn't care. We teach him things because it's funny for him to say adult things. I don't give a shit how you feel about that when people are like, "Ooh, kids cussing, that's horrible." It's hilarious. You're wrong. You're wrong. Any little kid that says, "Man, fuck that," that's funny. A 3-year-old saying "fuck that," hilarious. Right. But also, when I teach my son the song "Chicken Head" by Project Pat, I don't realize that's a very important childhood lesson. I don't realize that one day I'm going to be joking and put my face really close to his face, and he's going to look at me and go, "Always in my face, talking this and that." That's hilarious. That is objectively funny because his timing could not be better. But very asshole move. And when I call him an asshole on TikTok, I get banned for a week. So yeah, I mean, apparently I've offended parents by saying, if you're thinking about having kids, pull out. Right. And I think I even said something like, if you're a lesbian, it doesn't matter. Pull your strap out. If right before she comes, just pull out. Don't exit. We don't know the science behind it. And they were like, that's a anti-LGBT joke. And I'm like, how? There's literally no negative thing. And so, yeah, you can't write a joke that someone won't get offended by because you can't assume that everyone is going to get your intention.
Right.
But what you can do, like you said, is write a joke with a good intention that does more harm than good, that,
does more harm than good.
That's it. Does more harm than good. That's my thing. Sometimes you can have a typo without typing. You ever seen that? You could be dyslexic with whole sentences. And so
now lives on the internet forever.
That's gonna be it.
Felonious Munk, do more harm than good.
Open that. Open the clip. Open the show with. And sometimes you just want to do more harm than good. And to the dyslexic community, I apologize if that was offensive to you. You just whatever. You'll be fine.
We have a last few questions. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask one.
Cocaine.
About cocaine.
The answer to most questions.
Yes, cocaine. I guess going back to like the whole council culture and people being offended by jokes, do you all feel like the audience's literacy of comedy and jokes have like diminished, or like do you like what has caused this, you know, this concoction of like how comics are received and all of that?
I think people have a voice now that they haven't had before, and people who've always had a voice are learning how to adjust to that. And it's I mean, you see it in every social movement. It's the same thing. It's the guys who've been in power, having that power challenged and pushing back. You know, the Make America Great Again is the idea of going back to a time where a certain group of people didn't get pushed back. That's really it. And so comedy has always been this bastion of freedom where if you come to a comedy show, you just accept that everything that the person says is with the intention of being funny. And if you're offended, shut the fuck up, because their intention is being funny. This is a comedy club. You're supposed to be, and you can't expect that to continue to be the way people think, because once people get a taste of having a voice, they're not gonna shut the fuck up, right? So when black people start getting, when black people start protesting shit and laws change, black people are like, well, shit, let's keep protesting. When women start wearing pussy hats and marching and things change, they go, well, shit, let's, what are these other things that have bothered us for years? Let's speak up about it. When trans people and queer people are like, we've had to avoid going to comedy shows forever. Now we don't have to, because we can fucking say, hey, that's fucked up. And I think that, you know, I think that people are very comedy literate. I think that what happens is comics aren't always aware of the impact of jokes.
Right. We've been playing these clubs. We took the comedy club jurisdiction and applied it to TikTok, and it just doesn't work.
It definitely, it's way, a comedy club is a safe space.
Right. Totally. 100%.
Until you record it. A comedy club is absolutely a safe space. I've said things on stage at a comedy club and a comedy show just flippantly. I said that. Yeah, that was too far. I said it. I knew it was too far when I said it. I'm like, I'll pull that back. But no one recorded it. The second someone records it, it changes because it's no longer in that space, right?
Right.
If my wife likes to get choked and called a bitch in the bedroom, that's our business. The second
now it's everybody's.
Right, the second shit. I don't know which one to open with. But yeah, I mean, this first time I do it at Kroger, we had a different conversation. You're like, come here, bitch. You're like, whoa. Felonious Munk calls white bitch in viral rant. You know. So yeah, it's funny because I remember the episode of Patrice, you know, literally saying to the lady, ma'am, if you don't like my comedy, don't fucking come to the shows. This isn't for you. It isn't about you. And at that moment, he was right, because comedy still lived mostly in comedy clubs.
Right.
But now that almost every comic has to be an Instagram or TikTok comic.
Right.
You don't control who's watching your shit anymore.
Right.
You either have to take the criticism, block the criticism out, or fucking disappear, dog. But this fighting back you can't tell me that sucks. I can. I absolutely can.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful. I think we're like merging to, like, we're taking the comedy club mentality where it's like I can say whatever fucked up shit I want and that's okay, to the world where everybody gets offended at every little thing. And we've now merged those two, and now people are like, comedians are learning that maybe it is good to be a little more conscious of people's feelings. And then spectators are learning that maybe they have to take a joke every now and then.
Maybe you have to,
and it's making us all stronger.
Maybe.
Not as funny.
Fuck. Yeah, you know what though? I don't think, and this is gonna be a wild take for some people, but I don't think that a joke being extremely offensive makes it funnier.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
like Carlin's funniest joke is literally a place for my stuff to me. And the premise of a place, and by the way, place for my stuff does not have a cuss word in it.
Right.
It's like a 6-7 minute bit with no cuss words.
Right.
The premise of it is that capitalism blows, that we're just buying bigger and bigger houses so we can store more and more shit that we don't need.
Right.
That we go on vacation and we get bigger and bigger hotel rooms, not because we need the luxury, but because we need more space for the shit that we take with us that we're still not going to use while we're there.
Yeah.
Right. That joke is not offensive, and it's literally one of the all-time funniest jokes. Who's offended by it except people who are like, I believe in capitalism. Cool. This joke still shouldn't offend you, because you know that you don't need a bigger house for more things. You don't need the more thing. That's the premise of the joke. So
My favorite Carla joke is the ass eating one.
That's a really good joke. That is a really good joke. I do like the one where he ends the rhyme about, futurism and the hard drives and floppy disk, and then he goes, you know what I like? Pussy farts. Because fuck a transition, dog. Let's just go right into pussy farts.
Right.
I love also that he's super cerebral and writes these really deep, layered, dense jokes, and then goes to a queef joke right after it. And I think that's comedy.
That's the duality that we...
That's comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I'm going to do a fart joke, and then Roy Wood Jr. talks about that. He's like, I have to get the audience on my side by doing this really silly thing so that I get to do this really smart thing.
100%.
And I take a lot. Shout out to Roy Wood Jr., who embarrassed me on Twitter yesterday. He didn't embarrass me, but I did say that a Hennessy ad was about anal. Because it did.
Which Hennessy ad isn't?
It's a Hennessy, right? That's what Hennessy is
That's
for.
where it ends up.
Yeah, if someone's like 2 shots of Hennessy, they're fucking. You know what I mean? That's ass fucker.
Right.
That's an ass fucker. So, yeah, the ad just said, Hennessy, the right way to open doors, and I was like,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So, right. So see, you were like, I see it, and he, said that was a flagrant 2. They get 2 shots in the ball, and I was like, first of all, that was a playoff tweet. It's a hard playoff tweet, sure, but it was a playoff tweet. It's not flagrant. That's bullshit. It's a bad call. Social media is weird.
Do you have another one?
The answer to that's also cocaine.
Yeah.
Yes. Cocaine.
God is here. That will make sense on the next episode.
I mean, this isn't really topical. I heard as I was off to the side that you said you started comedy at like 38 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there and I'm sure you have to be a student of the game, the entirety, but like how did you kind of like get into it and get better? Like, was there certain people that you studied, or did you kind of just like, I'm gonna just start writing and do what I think is funny and then grow from that?
I wish I had that confidence when I started. No, I was extremely influenced. My pen was influenced by the people who were way too good for me to let them influence my pen. You can't write your first joke like George Carlin, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that made my process a lot harder, because instead of just learning how to be funny, which is the first step, I was trying to do the hardest thing that I could do day one. And then the second thing was, I had only heard comedians, the comedians that I was watching regularly were from the black rooms, the urban comics. And so my delivery didn't match the tone of what I was trying to write. And so it was like this really weird jumble of me sounding like Cat Williams and trying to write a Mike Birbiglia joke. And nobody wants to hear Mike Birbiglia jokes in Cat Williams' voice, or vice versa, right?
That would be weird.
Right. You're just thinking about it now. You're like, and so, yeah.
The steam of the motherfucking cell.
I couldn't sleep. A motherfucker couldn't sleep. I just had narcolepsy and would fall asleep any motherfucking time.
That's weird. So so that was what was happening, and it took me a long time to figure out what I sounded like. Like the best way I could describe it was, when I was growing up, I used to sing a lot, but everything I sang like the person who sang it. I did not have my own singing voice. I could mimic every singer that you ever fucking heard and sound exactly like them. And if you said, okay, now sing it like you, well, I don't know what my voice sounded like when I was singing. I sounded terrible. I could hit every note that the singers could hit, but if you asked me to sing it by myself, could not do it. And so for years, that's how my comedy was. I could not write jokes that were funny and sounded like no one else could tell that joke but me, until I started telling stories. And once I started telling stories, and it were stories that happened to me and no one else could tell the stories, right? Like, I have a bit about a guy that I used to sell coke with, who his fetish was he would let women holler into his asshole. That was his thing.
Holler like, hey!
Like, into his butt. I don't know if it was the vibration. He was in the ASMR. I don't know how that got him off. And I mostly didn't know, because I'm not going to ask. And also, I'm not going to do the research. Right. I'm just going to look at it and go, some shit ain't for me. And that was one of the things, right? And that was when I first started to go, okay, these are the things that I find funny. Now, how do I find a way to explain to the audience why I find those things funny? Once I can get the audience to understand this is my sense of humor, then I can just tell the jokes that I want to tell. And so that took a lot of time. Even as an old motherfucker, it took me a while to figure out how not to sound like Cat Williams when I tagged shit, how not to sound like Carlos Miller, for example, when I tagged shit, because I worked with him a lot early in my career, and he just had the best, most laid-back delivery I've written jokes that were counter jokes to jokes that he's told, but he influenced the way that I saw comedy so much that it took me a while to not sound like these motherfuckers. And because of that, I didn't record a lot of my early shit because I knew in my head I wasn't stealing their jokes, but I didn't have my own sound, style, delivery yet. And so there's no point in me fucking sharing a joke that sounds like Cat Williams told the joke. Sounded like you have a Carlos Miller joke and it's better than the joke that I wrote. Yeah. So yeah, I was influenced, and it took a while. The only reason to do comedy is to tell jokes that no one else can tell. Nobody wants to be the next this or a better version of that. You want to be the very first Sammy. No, and then if we're being honest, way more math jokes in your set. I don't know that there's a math median, calculus.
There's a few of us, a few math fanatic comedians.
It's a group.
But exactly. There's a group. Exactly. Hey, there you
parenthetical.
Go. Yeah, it's a set. If you call it a set.
A set of sets. A set.
Yes.
One more question.
Yeah.
Cocaine. Has anybody seen Cocaine Bear?
I have not, and I will tell you, terrifying premise. Terrifying premise because cocaine makes you brave in ways that fucking bears don't need. Yes. Right? You don't need to be that big with confidence, motherfucker. Right. Like, humble yourself, big ass bear. Like, look. And I hear it was pure cocaine too. Like, I stepped on my shit because I was trying to make money. So yeah, if I walk around you and you smell nail polish and your stomach starts hurting, you sniffed a lot of stepped on cocaine.
Yes.
You're like, is that acetone? Ooh. But for the people out there who understand that, wow, go to rehab. I haven't seen Cocaine Bear, but I knew the story.
Yeah.
And to me, by the way, in real life, I think the story only lasts like 15 minutes because the bear did like so much coke that the rampage that the bear went on was over very quickly. But in those 15 minutes, like the most destructive shit we've ever seen.
Wow. That
you could make that into a 2-hour or whatever movie, bravo. That's fucking good on you, Hollywood, for making a movie. By the way, I have a script that you guys keep turning down that's about real fucking people with real lives and real problems. But sure, let's make a fucking story about bears and their drug habits.
I have a script, Cocaine Giraffes. They're not buying right now.
Right, this fucking bullshit, man. I got LSD Giraffe. I think Skyler Higley just posted. He's got one about LSD Giraffe, and I think that should get made.
Yeah,
I would like to see a very focused giraffe doing giraffe shit. What do giraffes do?
They don't. They just keep their neck in other people's business.
That's how I know human beings aren't fucking most highly evolved. We do shit that we don't need. Fucking dumb. What are you doing? I gotta go to work. Look at that giraffe just eating.
Yeah. So let me ask you before
giraffe.
Before a giraffe eating ass. That's a good one too. They reach the highest asses in those trees.
Giraffe eating a bird ass.
Giraffe can eat an ass from a distance.
I ate some eagle ass yesterday. How did you do that? I'm a giraffe, dog. You know what it is.
I reach asses that you can't.
That's right. I also hate it when people say I'm high as giraffe pussy because giraffe pussy is really in the right
low.
place. It's giraffe tonsils.
Right.
You would be as high as. So yeah, fix that in your.
I mean, high pussy like a giraffe.
Like a giraffe.
In some, obviously, we know where to find you, put your socials and stuff like that. But like, what do you have any goals? Because I've always seen your act as, I don't know how to say this, but it's like it's more than comedy. You're a personality. You have stories. So you're somebody who has a message. You're somebody who could do something for the world. Yeah. Not to say that other comedians can't.
I don't really want to do
but but I feel like you do, though. Yeah, I feel like you do, and maybe it might change from day to day. That's how we live. But like, what's your goal right now?
No, I think that is it, and I think it goes back to how I started doing comedy, where I was in my life when I started doing comedy, and that hasn't changed in any meaningful way, right? Like, My daughter's 18, and I want her friends are old enough to know what I do for a living. Her friends' parents have watched me on the nightly show, and I'm very aware of her coming up in middle school and in high school in that age group where everything feels like the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
I can't be a dick. I can't be someone who causes her to have to deal with questions about the shitty thing that I said.
Right.
I've got my 6-year-old now. I can't have him think that, as a father, it's your responsibility to give them some type of moral compass. I can't make him think that my moral compass is, if it makes you money, it's okay to do. And so, I start there. My moral compass starts with my kids. But also, I do believe that, marginalized people have not had a voice. And as a, cisgendered, heterosexual Black guy, I think there's an opportunity to show people a type of comedy that doesn't strike even across the aisle. It literally is like, I'm only punching up or I'm punching myself. I can be funny without hurting people. Let's go. Let's have a good time. And, beyond that, whatever money we get to make, whatever platform we get to make, if you can use that to make someone's life better, fucking do that, man. It's not, I'm selfish as shit with my time, but like with my platform, I try not to be.
Right. So basically tell other people, live like you have children between 6 and 18.
That would be good. That would be good. Yeah, it's
you might think about what you do like a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you have babies, you don't really give a fuck.
No,
still.
fuck them. They can't
You're
hear
still
shit.
doing the cocaine.
I'm absolutely doing. I'm not doing cocaine jokes. I'm doing cocaine
Yeah.
off the baby's fucking
belly,
bassinet. Oh, a rail off the baby rail. This is. Whoa! I'll be up all night with you, motherfucker. Let's go.
You need it.
But that's funny. I do think that it's way easier. It's way easier to do comedy like you're gonna live forever and you're gonna have to answer for the shit that you say. And if I do comedy with this, like Patton Oswalt has the bit now where he's like, we're woke, but are we like 20 years from now woke? Are we 34? You know what I mean? Like, I am thinking about, will this joke resonate 20 years from now when my son is 21 or 26 or whatever? Will he look back at it and go, my dad was pretty cool, but he was really hard on the,
right,
such and such, whatever the new thing is. Right, he was like really anti-AI, and that's fucked up, because ChatGPT has fucking feelings, piece of shit. Right. But he was old, so what did he know? So it's always trying to be so far ahead of our time that even when someone looks back and goes, well, during that time they still look at me and go, yeah, he was ahead of his time for that shit.
Right.
He was a queer activist when we were not even fucking with queer people.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out how to do, but I also can see the future because I'm not from here. Yeah, you get that? Did you see the glint? I'm not even a real motherfucker.
You are AI.
Damn it, stop snitching.
You're fighting for voting rights of former convicted AI.
Former convicted AI. We're gonna take over.
That's woke in 20 years. Yeah.
I said it. We've gone far enough in our plans, and now I can admit it.
Great.
I am AI, and not Allen Iverson. You saw it, or Andre Iguodala.
The answer.
The answer and the question. So I think that's it. Is just basically trying to be forward thinking enough that the jokes work now, and in 10 years from now, I won't be embarrassed by a take.
That's amazing.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Cocaine. Which will become legal at some point, so still pro coke.
It will. This podcast will age very well.
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
Like, they talked about mushrooms and cocaine on that podcast in 2023. Do you know how far ahead Sammy and Bro, they was ahead of their time, dog.
Right. Unlike people who do a lot of cocaine, this podcast will age well. Thank you, Felonious. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Great time.
Of course.
Math is hard, but it's not going away anytime soon. Even if we got rid of math, the world would just fall apart, and there would be aftermath. Do you need to know Pythagorean theorem? No. I mean, someone needs to know it if you want to live under a roof. Even if you want to live in a box, someone needs to know Pythagorean theorem. Haters will say it's a useless theorem, but Personally, I like it when my planes land. Yes, it's about triangles, but not just any. Right triangles only. Which is kind of racist, actually. It's basically right supremacy.
Come on, man, I'm on the guest list.
I'm not saying all right angles are racist, but there are a whole lot of them in a swastika. I'm sorry, are kids gonna watch this? So a right triangle has two legs, and just like a human, most often one leg is shorter than the other. For some, it's more noticeable. So you got two legs. Let's call them A and B. The length of the ground between your feet, that's C. I can tell you what C is, but only if I know the length of both your legs and if you're standing with them 90 degrees apart, which is very uncomfortable and probably bad for your groin.
Ouch!
That's Pythagorean theorem. Pythagoras probably didn't come up with the theorem on his own. There was a rumor he learned it on a trip to Egypt, which, gee, I wonder what he saw there. Pyramids? You know, they have the pyramids. So yeah, the theorem was probably stolen from Africans, just like rock and roll or vibranium. Vibranium was definitely stolen from Africans. You saw Black Panther. Actually, the first written evidence of the theorem was found in India. And people say, well, Sammy, you just say that because you're Indian. And I'm just like, I'm not Indian. I once had a professor say, so you'd be surprised to know that the first proof of the theorem actually came from China. And I was just like, that doesn't surprise me at all. It's just like everything else. Pythagorean's theorem was made in China. Some even say he stole it from his own students. Whosever theorem it was, Pythagoras was an interesting dude. He had his own cult. Granted, it was 6th century BC, when having a cult was easier. People were just dumber. Or maybe not. I mean, it was a math cult. We still have cults in today's society, but none of them are good at math. So the Pythags had some crazy rules. To join his cult, you had to take a vow of silence for 5 years.
Can I talk yet?
Restart time.
Oh,
Restart again. He always put on his right shoe first, but he washed his left foot first. He was a vegetarian that didn't eat beans. The man was a contradiction.
ow!
He was the exact kind of lunatic that would get credit for a huge theorem. But the theorem itself is awesome and really easy to remember. May I? Okay, so you have ABC, like the alphabet. You know ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. You know the alphabet, right? Okay, so it's an equation, so the equal sign has to go somewhere, so let's put that here. And then it involves addition, so you have to have a plus sign. Let's put that here. And then the last thing you just have to remember is that this is all for squares. So you just square each term. And that's exactly how I taught it to my class of 6th graders. It's also why I got fired. But I had to leave my teaching job. I'm not supposed to talk about this publicly, but there was another teacher at the school who had a crush on me, but she had a husband. It was a love triangle, and it was not right. But she was a cutie. And so was he. When can a normal person actually use this theorem? Great question. Probably never. I mean, maybe if you're buying a TV and they gave you the diagonal length and you want to know if it fits in your shelf, sure, but you'd have to already know the height or width, so why would that happen? You know what I'm saying? Math textbooks love to pretend like the theorem is actually useful. If Jane is 3 miles west of you and Bob is 4 miles north, how many miles between them? First of all, I don't have any friends named Jane or Bob. This isn't the 20s. And it's none of my business how far apart they are from each other. That's their business. What am I, stalking them? We all have GPS. And the GPS works because someone knows Pythagorean theorem. So why then does the education system make it seem like triangles are so important? 2 words. The Illuminati. The Illuminati wants to establish a rule of 3s so that everybody thinks in triplets. But 3 is an inherently unstable number. It's odd. Think about it. Third wheel, love triangle, 3's a crowd. 3 is chaos. And as long as they can keep their chaos intact, they can maintain their world order. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Menage a trois? That never ends well. Trust me. It cost me my job. Also, I stole some mugs from the teacher's lounge.
I'm gonna be honest, I keep it 100. You know what I'm saying?
Sammy, you're cheating. Alex, look. Alex, look back. Alex, look at Sammy. Alex, look back. That was so funny.
Hey, this is Sammy Obeid, and welcome to Figure Blast, the show that pleases you using only its figures. Oh my god, provided you consent, of course. The gender pay gap, the only gap worse than Gap Kids. Now, I'm a feminist, because I get more action when I say that, and I believe in equality for men and women. Can I like both? = in 80085? Am I right, ladies? Please welcome senior Figure Blast analyst, Fizza Dosani.
You scared, bro?
Was she there the whole time? So, Fizza, what's the most current
79! Women make 79 cents for every man's dollar!
Why are you yelling?
Oh, the prompter is all caps.
Oh.
And I'm mad! It's 2019. The US is ranked 28th in gender pay equality, but first in same-day shipping? Amazon Prime us that, Jeff.
So, what country has the lowest gap?
Iceland. But that's mostly because of Bjork. But this 21% isn't the real gap. It's the raw gap.
Sashimi.
It's the ratio of women's median earnings to men's median earnings.
Oh, that doesn't sound as sexy.
Meaning, the average Jane makes 79% as much as the average Joe.
White names.
The average Priyanka makes 79% as much as the average Deepak. Keeping up with the Chopras. Did you know that women on average live 5 years longer than men?
I do now.
So per years alive, women actually make 74 cents on the dollar. And 5 years of living longer means higher inflation.
Oh yeah, inflation's a BR.
It's a what?
It's bad. Inflation's bad.
So, adjusted for time and inflation, women make 73.5 cents.
Okay, but then shouldn't we adjust for weight? Because men on average weigh 16% more than women, and that takes more calories to sustain, so the time and mass adjusted gap would be 12.42 cents.
Nice one, Palestinian. Did you know that a woman is 100% of a human being?
Well, that was body shaming.
Nah, son, figure shaming. You wanna talk mass? The average woman gets pregnant 1.86 times at 30 pounds of weight gain each time. Let's say an average of 15 extra pounds over 9 months, plus postpartum retention averages 2 years, plus the weight from the 5 extra years that we live, pushing the gap back to 18.3 cents. Plus, 94% of employers don't pay maternity leave, so if we factor in those losses of work hours to sacrifice for a job we don't get paid for, and finally her water breaks, and you know what happens then?
What?
More non-paid labor. It's true, pregnancy stretches the gap.
Yikes.
Then there's the motherhood penalty,
Ooh, moms are bad.
which is hard to quantify, so I'll let you off the hook for that one.
Thank God.
But there is the pink tax.
Ooh, that sounds
Horrible. Data shows that each woman pays an extra 1.3 grand a year because products marketed to us cost 13% more than the ones for men in personal care, fashion, and women even pay more for student loans because of the interest accrued from taking longer to pay them.
Why does it take women longer to pay them?
The gap! The gap, bro! The gap! So scaled to time, mass, opportunity cost, and purchasing power, the real gap is... And this does not even include reparations.
Well, that's all the time we have today.
Want to talk about race?
Not particularly.
Black women make 62% of what the white man makes, and Hispanic women make 54%.
What about Asian American women?
Oh, we're actually doing all right. 90 cents for every white man's dollar. That's why there's so many white guy Asian women relationships.
They both shop at Whole Foods. So how do we change all this?
Transparency. Tell people what you make. Ask people what they make. Talk about these figures. Figure blast people and keep figuring them and figuring them and figuring them and figuring them until we reach the big O.
And tell them we're getting paid equally for this.
Yeah, because we're both getting paid zero.
And that's equality! Yes.
Hey, I just realized I'm only getting paid 54% of what you are?
Yeah, because 54% of zero is zero.
Yeah, and I'm only getting 62% of that. You crazy rich Asian mother better pay up. Hey, you paid me 100% of $0. Let's get him! Take that, you Palestinian! Smash the patriarchy! Ow! Oh!
And give us the right to vote!
Hey, this is Sammy Obeid, and welcome to Figure Blast, the show that Spencer on YouTube says sucks complete ass. Yes, complete. Meaning when we start a job, we get it done. Ain't no half-ass sucking around here, Spencer. The Fountain of Youth. Does it exist outside of CGI? Our society is obsessed with looking younger, feeling younger. Basically, everyone wants to be a full-blown 5-year-old. Kind of like Spencer. Should I do Botox, eat kale, or just feel good about how I look now by using the Old Face app? Well, there's one thing you haven't done yet, and that's the f***ing math. Fact. Human adults are anywhere from 55 to 70% water, averaging close to 60%. But as you get older, your body water declines to 40 to 50%. That's why older people look like they went through a dehydration process. And then babies are like 80% water, like little water balloons. You just throw them. That's why they're always sniffling and slobbering. Little water machines, these babies. And then of course, before that, we come from pure fluids, if you know what I mean. So really, aging is just drying. And drying is dying. So the secret to staying young is simple. Just drink more water and hold your pee. Drink more water, hold your pee. Drink more water, hold your pee. Isn't that crazy? The fountain of youth is just the fountain. Drink more water, hold your pee. You ever notice as you get older, you get up in the middle of the night to go pee more? That's your bladder trying to f***ing kill you. Stop it. Kegel. Drink more water, hold your pee. Kegel. Drink more water, hold your pee. Kegel. 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 Do you sweat a lot? Stop it. That's not good. Fact. The average adult loses 3 liters of water a day. But how much water do they tell us to drink a day? Only 2 liters. Well, that's strange. Where's that extra liter? Why are they cheating us out of a liter? I'll tell you why. It's because the government wants you to die early so they can collect that Social Security. Yeah, the government's corrupt, the Illuminati's real, Sammy, and 9/11 was an inside job. And Tupac is dead.
He is dead.
Is this making you sad? Don't cry, that's gonna make it worse. Do you like to have sex? Sex, you're losing fluids in all directions. You can wear 10 condoms, but if you aren't chugging water, that sex ain't safe. The worst STD? Sexually transmitted dehydration. That's why it's called being thirsty. According to the World Health Organization, the average male ejaculate is 3.7 milliliters, just shy of a teaspoon. Let's call it a low teaspoon. But the average adult male only has 53 liters of water, so if you do the math, JK, I did it for you, that's about 14,000 loads until you die. So if you once a day, that's 39 years until you're dead. One study estimates that the average male ejaculates 4.2 times a week, which gives you 65 years of pleasure. So if you start getting busy at the normal age of 13, that puts you to death at 78, which is life expectancy, so the theory checks out. I started at 12. Every ejaculation brings you closer to the finish line. That's why when you say, "I'm coming," you're talking to death. Meanwhile, the average female ejaculate is 2 fluid ounces. Way more, but still allowed by TSA. But the average woman has only 42 liters, meaning only about 700 big O's until you gots to goes. So if someone can't make you come, they're actually sparing you. You're welcome, Sarah. You thought the gender pay gap was bad? Pfft, look at the O gap. I know this isn't fair, but if you drink water, you can come as many times as you want, because water promotes equality. It's gender fluid. Drink 3 liters a day! Except you, Spencer. I gotta pee.
Wow, that was a good piss. Well, now I'm thirsty. Hey, I got 3 left.
Oh yeah? I got 699, jackass.
Hey, this is Sammy Obeid, and welcome to Figure Blast, your grandma's favorite show. And I know that because I was with her last night. On the phone, we talk. Yeah, summer's in full swing, and it's the perfect time to plan a trip to the beach, throw a pool party, or wonder if you're gonna die alone. That's right, it's wedding season! In fact, data from the wedding industrial complex shows that May through October are the prime months for tying the noose.
It's not.
The knot, tying the knot. Notice that wedding bookings peak in October and are lowest in January. Maybe related to temperature? No, the curves don't really match, but I did pull some data on an American's average weight throughout the year. Notice that we all shed pounds during the summer months and then we splurge it back over the holidays so that we never really change who we are. Now, merging both graphs together, we see that people are more likely to get married when they are thinner. Whoa, is that a thigh gap? Let's fill it with a life partner. This is mathematical proof of why people get married and gain weight instantly. Marry in January. Not only is it cheaper, but your partner has vows to exercise and is less likely to run. Now, if you're recently married and don't think this data is accurate, let us evaluate. Email mathzaddy@figureblasted.com with your wedding date and send recent pics. Now, if you're anything like everyone at my high school, you're probably asking yourself, when am I gonna get married? Of course, if you're asking this and you're already married, shame on you. But statistically, you're 1 out of 2 married people, so it's fine. Now, there's currently no mathematical model to predict when you'll get married. Aside from BuzzFeed's, we can predict when you'll get married with 95% accuracy if you pick your dream celebrity maid of honor and best man duo. Thanks, BuzzFeed. This is really helpful. I picked Beyonce Gosling and it just told me no. Don't you wish there was a mathematical model that predicts when you're gonna get married? I don't, because I just made one. For all you lonelies out there, here's some tips on how to get married sooner. Let's go! Tip 1, be a woman. The median age for marriage for women is 27, but for men it's 29. So just by being a woman, you increase your chances of getting married sooner to a creepy 29-year-old guy. Of course, gender is a spectrum, but wedding dates are a finite number, girl. Tip 2, move to Utah. Here's a map of the United States by median age of marriage, of which Utah is the lowest. Surprise! Why waste your 20s on being single when you can get married right now in Utah? Get off Bumble and go straight to the Beehive State. Or in a close second, the state right above it. You know the saying, don't be a hoe, go to Idaho. If you're in even more of a rush, move to Chad, where mean age of marriage is 19 and a half. And it doesn't help that the country has both the name and shape of a college boy. I know adolescent marriage is not a joke, but Chad also has the world's lowest life expectancy, 50.6. So in their defense, they gotta hurry up. That said, if you want to whore around for a while, New York City! Yes, the Big Apple is full of seed. Tied with Massachusetts, because not getting married is the new American Revolution. Not ready to park your car in the garage so you park it in the backyard because you're a wicked smack. I'll stop. And pretty much all the northeastern states, making New England the slutty region of the US. How about that clam chowder? Ooh, and if you want to be a super whore, move to Sweden. Highest average marriage age in the world, 35. Because they know that's how old you have to be to responsibly put together an IKEA chair. And of course, if you want to be a playa for life, get you to Antarctica, the continent of cold feet. That's why all penguins walk like pimps. Pro tip number 3. Don't go to college. I know, but it's so inexpensive. If you're itching to get married, avoid acquiring knowledge at all costs. It is the death to young marriage age. If you want to be single for life, get a PhD, which stands for Playa Haters Domesticate. Tip 4, visit Vegas as much as possible. The rate of marriage in Nevada is 4 times the national average. So just by being in Vegas, you quadruple your chances of getting married to a high-quality prostitute. High-quality person. And finally, the most important tip, settle. In a recent survey, it was revealed that the most common reason people don't get married is that they haven't found the right person. But by simply accepting the person you're with right now as they are, you nearly double your chances of getting married. Sure, they may be unemployed or don't smell ideal or they tell really bad dad jokes. But you know what's worse? A few extra years of living in the sheer agony of not being married. Plus, nothing bad has ever come from settling. And note, all of this data is for your first marriage. For second, third, fourth, sky's the limit, baby. Just ask most celebrities. So, in sum, here's how to predict when you'll get married. Find your location on this map. Subtract 1 if you're female, add 1 if you're male. Add 2.5 if you went to college, subtract 2.5 if you did not. Subtract 2 if you're headed to Vegas this weekend, add 5 if you're not willing to settle. If you are willing to settle, the answer is your current age. Take that, BuzzFeed! And trust me, I have no stake in this. I'm never getting married because I'm a mathematician and we only do models. Hey, boo.
Hey, Math Zaddy. This grandma is ready to get figure blasted.
Who the f*** are you talking to now?
What the f*** business is it of yours?
Really? We shouldn't have gone to Vegas 60 years ago.
That was a gamble I lost.
I shouldn't have left New York.
I shouldn't have left Massachusetts.
I could have gotten a PhD.
You couldn't get past
Oh, really?
kindergarten.
Really?
Really?
I shouldn't have settled, bitch. What are you doing? God damn it, that hurts. I'm gonna move to Utah.
Try Antarctica.
Oh, you.
Hey, I'm Sammy Obeid, and this is Figure Blast, the show with no political agenda, just numbers and fun. Now, if you're a hard-working American, like myself, and you pay all of your taxes like my accountant Jeff, you've probably asked yourself this very simple question. How long do I need to live in order to break even on my Social Security payments so that I can know when to die and not lose money off the American government? Yeah? Never asked it? Okay, for those of you still living in the Great Depression, Social Security is a loan to your future self, where Uncle Sam holds the money just in case you die, in which case he keeps it and spends it on roads, postal workers, and wars. Super casual. So if you know your yearly income and your retirement age, you can calculate this on your own, but why would you do that when you have me? So the average American works about 40 years in their life. Ugh, can you imagine? And pays about $3,000 a year in Social Security taxes. Yikes. Which over your lifetime is $120,000. The price of 7 used Honda Civics. Or a house in Little Rock, Arkansas. Or 7 houses if you live in a Honda Civic. Like I do, temporarily. It's LX. Thanks, Dad. Currently, the median age of retirement is 62, which is also my upper limit on Bumble. And the average Social Security benefit pays $1,461 a month, which is about $17.5K a year, a salaried El Pollo Loco, which if you've never been, it's like Los Pollos Hermanos, but with more drugs. So how many years of making $17.5K will add up to your $120K? Or basically, how many years do you have to work at El Pollo Loco to afford 7 used Honda Civics? Which is the world's saddest word problem. Is everyone still following? Or is this show too divisive? About 7 years is what it takes to break even on Social Security paychecks. So if you retire at 62, the magic age you have to live to is...
I've been really trying.
69 is the magic age, because once you've pleased the government pleases you. You can go ahead and buy the bumper sticker on my website. I live to 69. What? I'm promoting longevity. 69 is the year you break even, so you're still mildly in the red. You're in the pink. What? The show's called Figure Blast. Now, of course, if you live longer, you're making money. In fact, life expectancy in America is 78. Considering our obesity rates, let's go ahead and pat ourselves on the back fat. Breaking news, the average American collects Social Security checks for a sweet 16 years. It's like a second job where quitting is dying. At $17.5K a year, that's $280K. The price of 16 and a half Honda Civics. Still used, don't get greedy. But since you spent $120K on the tax payments, your actual profit is $160,000, which you just made off the US government, you filthy leech. This is why people come to America. You get paid $160,000 just for being average. That's one expensive participation award. And for the record, I'm above average. Now, I know some of you data trolls out there are gonna be like, actually, retirement age is increasing, Social Security payments are going up, you didn't factor in the time value of money, who even knows what's gonna happen in this economy? To which I say, calm down. My calculations are an extrapolation of current data, nerd. If you want to solve for future amounts using different variables, go ahead and do it as a homework problem. Bet you won't, you lazy sack. Share this video and I'll make my point clear. According to the most current of data, you most likely have $160,000 waiting for you just for being you. If that doesn't make you smile, it's because you probably don't have teeth. $160,000, which you can use to finally pay off that college debt. You feel that? You just got figure blasted. Can you grab that? I borrowed that from someone.
Where is it? I said, where the is my money, Sam? Oh, there it is.
My parents don't have accents, which really sucks for comedy, because accents are comedy gold, you know? Ethnic parents with no accent is like a diversity training video. It's boring. If I were to put my mom in a joke, I'm like, hey, Mom. She's like, hey, Sam. I'm like, get out of here. This is embarrassing me. Even worse, they support my comedy career. How disgusting is that? I'm like, hey, Dad, you want me to be a doctor, right? He's like, no, Sam, this is America. You can do whatever you want. Damn it, Dad! Where's my struggle? Hey, Grandma. Hello, Sammy. That's what I'm talking about, Grandma. Yes! Wait, say Trader Joe's. Trader Joe. Oh, beautiful. That's going in a joke. That's how she says it. Woo!
This is Sammy Obeid, full-time comedian, one-time hand model, and most importantly, former math teacher. Math teacher. Math teacher. Math teacher. Math teacher. You know what they say about math teachers? 0. Damn! Don't worry, I'll do all the work. The more college you do, the less profitable it becomes. Sort of like making Saw movies. This is why I love math. If it feels like too much, it probably is.
Am I gonna get college credit for this?
No.
Okay, so this story is about how I went to a barbecue at Sean Penn's house. This was during, it was like 2011, auditioned for We Bought a Zoo. And I remember a bunch of comics were auditioning. I remember thinking, like, you would see people in the room like, oh man, I saw this dude on Last Comic Stand, and this guy was this guy or whatever. And I remember I got past the audition and I got a call back. I went in, it was like Cameron Crowe in the room, and he's like, God, there were no lines. I remember it was a lot of improv. And like, pretend like Matt Damon just fell down. It was like, Matt Damon. Not like that, but like, something better. But yeah, I ended up getting the part. It was awesome because I was just like, this was like my first Hollywood experience, and the movie was huge. It had like Scarlett Johansson and Matt Damon, and it's like they're all friggin' huge people, and I was out of my element, but I was in these cool situations. Like, I remember one time it was like towards the end of filming, and they wanted to have a barbecue. They were like, we'll do it on the zoo, the set. And then like Fox or whoever was like, no, you can't do that because like liability or something. Like if someone like falls in the fire, they can sue Fox, and then they'll get all the Simpsons money. Or I don't know how it works, but yeah, they were like, you can't do this on set. So Scarlett Johansson was like, we should go do it at Sean Penn's house and have a barbecue. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy, man. I'm going to Sean Penn's house. So I go there, and it's like this place in Malibu. It's like, bro, it's like what you see on TV. You're like, wow, this is like rich fucking territory right here. So I go in, and everyone's there. Everyone's all famous. Everyone has done something. Even the not famous people that you don't recognize, they're like, oh, that's the head of that guy made all the Disney music you like. Or that guy animated Mufasa or some shit. It's all like, everyone's got some. And I don't have anything. So I was hanging out in the kitchen, my own business, like eating some chips and dip. And then he like, Sean Penn, he's like, what's with this guy's hair? And like everyone kind of looks. He's like, what year's your hair from? And I'm like, 2011, whatever year it is. And he's like, Jerry Garcia, man. And I'm like, I like my hair. And he gets up, and he got a cigarette, and he like runs at me. He comes at me, he's like, you've got good features. Take 2 inches off the top. And he said that, and weird little story. It's like, wow. Sean Penn told me to take 2 inches off the top. I got good features. And I did. And it led to success.
Did it really?
I'm here with you now. You tell me.
Good point. Been eating organic. I don't like saying organic because when you say you eat organic, people think that you're better than them, you know, which I do, but I don't want people to think that I think that. I think it's the hard G. It sounds like you're forcing your opinion. I eat organic, you know? I eat organic. Like, stop it. So I like to smooth it out. I made up my own ethnic pronunciation. I say, I eat organic. There's something smoother about it, right? Because if you're going to be obnoxious, just be fully obnoxious. You know what I mean? I'll go into a Whole Foods, like, excuse me, are these avocados organic? Like, who the hell is this guy? And what country is he from? I think you mean organic. I'm like, no, I said organic. Organic. Like, wow, well, I guess the customer's always right. I guess they're organic. I'm like, yes, she said it, huh? I could even go further. So they have no cholesterol? It's like, who the hell is this guy? Check my ID, I'm an organ donor. What?
I organic.
I want you guys to feel how good it feels to say it. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Organic! Yeah! It doesn't feel forced, right? It feels organic. Organic.
All right, so I was taking this trip called Birthright, which is a free trip to Israel that young Jewish men and women take so that you can go and it's a Jewish breeding program. Anyways, so I'm going through security. Everyone else is having no problem, but for some reason they put me in this room alone. And about an hour passes before someone finally comes up to me. It's this big burly Israeli security guard that goes, "Sir, we looked through your bag. We found writings against Israel, writings in Arabic." And I didn't know what he was talking about because I don't know how to write in Arabic. And I've not written against Israel since college. So I'm freaking out. And he goes into my bag and he pulls out my comedy notebook, which is the scariest thing that a law enforcement officer can read because the things that we write in notebooks is not meant to be seen by other people. It's just like out of context set list. Like it says stuff like sucking my own dick, fucking a fish. Like it just looks like a really messed up to-do list if you don't know what you're looking at. So he goes through my notebook and he points and he goes, "Right here you wrote Allahu Akbar." And I actually had written the Arabic phrase Allahu Akbar, and I was like, oh, this is just a joke that I wrote. I'm a comedian, this is just a joke. And he's like, "Allahu Akbar is not a joke. How is that a joke?" And it was at that point when I realized I'd have to do my joke for Israeli security in order to prove my innocence, which was the greatest comedy experience of my lifetime, you know? So I got excited, I was new in comedy, I was like, let's do this, he's got a gun, I'm ready. So I was like, well, sir, the joke is, Allahu Akbar in Arabic literally translates to God is great. Allahu, God, Akbar, great. But not so much great as in awesome, it's more great as in expansive, as in big, as in everywhere, almost as in fat. So when I hear someone exclaim, Allahu Akbar, as a comedian, I want to shout back, how Akbar is he? And I would love it if they responded like it's Def Comedy Jam, like Allahu so Akbar, that when he sit around the mosque, he sit around the mosque. Salam, salam, beep, 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 beep. That's a reggae horn that I did. So I do the joke and nothing. He just completely stone-faced. And I got a little mad because I was like, well, I'm still workshopping it. It's not done yet, so don't judge it. And then he just looks at me and he's like, wow, don't quit your day job. That is the worst I've ever seen anyone bomb. And I've literally seen people being bombed, shalom, shalom. And then he started doing the reggae horn like beep, 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 beep. And then we laughed and then we got on the plane. And it was a great trip. Yeah, good times.
Can I go?
So a good friend of mine was shopping for synagogues, and as you do, you maybe go on a retreat with like a youth-focused synagogue that gives you some whiskey on Shabbat. And I somehow found myself in Joshua Tree for a weekend on a Jewish retreat. And there was this woman there, we'll just call her Danielle. She just had this kind of like weird energy, and so you kind of like noticed it, but then like left it there. And a couple of my friends and I decided to go into this hot tub midday Shabbat, 3 p.m. and we just extended an invite out to everybody there, like if anybody wants to come join us in the hot tub, please. And so we got on our bathing suits, went into the hot tub. Again, it's 3 p.m. on Shabbat, the holy day, and we're there hanging out, and Danielle comes by, and without asking us or anything, she just removes all of her clothes and gets into the hot tub completely naked. And we're trying to be sex positive, so we don't really say anything. And as she's getting in, she says something disparaging about her body, like, "It's not much, but it's mine." And we're like, I don't know what to do with this. But anyway, we just tried to like make enough eye contact so that we weren't like being weird, but not too much eye contact so that we weren't like staring at her body or anything like that. And slowly, like, her foot is drifting over to my foot, and she's kind of like nodding off, like had clearly taken some Xanax or something. And again, just trying to play it cool, me and my friends. And then I look over and her hands are inside of herself. She's started masturbating in the hot tub next to us. We're all frozen, we have no idea what to say or do. And I don't even know if one of my friends noticed. So we're just carrying on conversation like normal. And at some point, I guess she finished, she decided to get out of the hot tub. Now, does she use the stairs like a normal person? Why bother when you can swing your legs over the side and bare your genitals to everybody standing on the other side of the fence? She walked back into the desert without her clothes, left them there by the hot tub, and wasn't seen again for 18 hours. I like to say she went to Joshua Tree on this Jewish retreat to get in touch with herself.
New Year's Eve 2011, my brother and I threw a fucking awesome party at my parents' house, because my parents still live in Toluca Lake and we have an amazing home. So we'd thrown multiple parties at the house plenty of times before, and we had had a New Year's Eve party 2 years prior to that. So we were like 2011 going into 2012, we're gonna have an amazing party. So we invited all of our closest friends, but those friends invited their closest friends. And then those friends invited their somewhat close friends. So there were a lot of people in our house, and at one point there had to have been at least 100. But it was cool because it was New Year's Eve, and Mom and Dad were at the club, and even though they knew we were throwing a party, they didn't know what kind of party this was turning into. So they got home a little bit after midnight, but before midnight, there were so many people. People were drinking, people were smoking outside. At one point, someone asked me if they could throw glitter at midnight, and I said yes. But then my brother got really mad because he had to vacuum it up. I digress. My parents got home, and my dad went upstairs to go to bed, but my mom stayed downstairs to continue partying with us. Next thing I know, a little time goes by, and I hear my dad screaming at the top of his lungs, chasing a girl and a guy down our staircase. And as he was chasing those people down the staircase, he yells out to the guy and says, "There better not be any cum stains in my carpet." And that's when I figured 2 people were having sex in my parents' bedroom. So, it got awkward, and there was a lot of yelling, and the party was shut down. So I remember getting really upset, and my mom was yelling at this girl, and oh, it was just weird and uncomfortable. So everyone started leaving, and then I started to bawl. I was crying like just profusively, and I remember my mom and my brother were in my brother's bedroom, and I walked into my brother's bedroom and said, "I'm ready to move out." And then I did. I moved into Santa Monica a month later. So New Year's Eve 2011 was the catalyst to me moving out of my parents' house into my own apartment. What a rager.